Now, I've been seeing people use AI to make all kinds of meal plans, and I'm looking back like that meal plan is off, the macros are off, the calories are wrong, you're not going to see the results. And it's like, I wanted to say something, but you know what? Let me just make this video. I'm certified with precision nutrition, and I've been coaching for over 13 years. I've helped thousands of busy professional women drop belly fat, tone their body up, get their energy back, but most importantly, get their confidence for their lifestyle back up to where they want it to be. And in this video, I'm going to break down how to actually make a meal plan with AI, how to make sure your meal plan is actually accurate. And at the end, I'm going to show you how you can lose 1 to 2 pounds of fat per week using this method. So let's go ahead and dive in. All right, so the first thing we need to do is go ahead and set the stage. So we need to understand where we're starting at with our baseline. So over here, I'm gonna use one of my previous clients as a starting point. Now she got her results, but we'll go over that another time. But this is a woman who is 35 years old, was starting at 200 pounds and 35% of body fat. She worked out with the process 3 times per week, 45 minutes of lifting in the gym, cardio, about 20 minutes on the treadmill on an incline every like 3-4 days or so. But she took about 7,000 steps daily, just on average. And we calculated her BMR to be about 1,600. Now there's some other numbers we're going to get into here in just a second, but you just want to make sure you have those baselines. So what you want to look at for yourself, if you don't have a body fat percentage, that's okay. Body weight and height and stuff like that is okay. It's okay as well too. I forgot to put this on here, but she's 5'4". So let's say you're 200 pounds. You're 5'4", you don't know your body percentage, that's okay. You're around 35, 40 years old. So those are okay things to put on. Now you'll want to adjust for how much you work out. And again, this is why working out is important, because when you're working out, you're actually increasing your BMR. You're making it easy for your body to burn more calories to allow you to eat more food when you're building your meal plan. All right. I'm not a fan of having meal plans where you got to starve. So if that's you, like stop starving. All right. So now we have our baseline established. The next thing we want to do is go ahead and set our macros. Now you might be thinking, where should I be setting my macros at? It's going to be different for everybody. But I like to go with a range of 0.7 to 1 gram per pound of body weight. That's typically a good range. Some people will go like with lean mass and then per kilo. Honestly, it's just keep it simple. All right. We don't have to go that crazy because honestly, not everybody knows their body fat percentage. So it's hard to get that true lean mass amount. So let's pull up my calculator here and we're going to go ahead and do this from scratch. Where's the calculator? There you go. All right. So if she is 200 pounds, and I like to go on the lower end because more protein is always better, but a lot of protein, like 200 grams of protein, I don't know if you've ever eaten 200 grams of protein before, but that's a lot to eat. So we'll go with the 0.7 route. So that means we want to go for about 140 grams of protein. And 140 grams of protein is going to give us 160 calories as far as our intake. And we'll get to the total calories for a second, but I'm a little more advanced when it comes to my meal planning. So this is why I start with the actual macros. As a beginner, it might be easier for you to just start with the calorie intake and then worry about the macros later, but I'm going straight into the advanced part. And by the way, if you're wondering like, where are you getting these numbers from? I have a guide on this and I'll link it to you below in this video description. And in here, I have where we talk about our healthy nutrients and macros. Protein provides 4 calories per gram inside of here. So just some numbers that you can have inside the guide as well too, with meal planning access and tips and tricks. And carbs also have 4 calories per gram, and fats provide 9 calories per gram. So we have about 140 grams of protein intake here. And so that's going to give us 560 calories. I want her intake to be about anywhere from 1,800 to 2,000 calories per week. So if we already have 560 calories coming from our protein, we'll start with the higher end with the 2,000 because it'll make it more even and easier. So we have 1,440 calories left to work with. Now, let's say you're just at the start of your fat loss journey and you also like your carbs. I like cutting with higher carbs too. It's more fun. It's less restrictive. So we'll put it at we'll start off like 200 calories, 200 grams of carbs. And if we're starting at 200 grams of carbs, then what that means is that's going to be 800 calories because remember, there are 4 calories per gram of carbohydrates. So with that being said, if I subtract 800, this means I have 640 calories left in my overall calorie intake. So 200 grams of carbs. It's going to give me about 800 calories here. And then all I have to do to find how many grams of fats that I'm going to have is divide this by 9 because there's 9 calories in 1 gram of fat. And that puts me at 71 grams of fat. And honestly, that is actually a lot of fat. So this will be one of those first things that I put down, but it's easier to start with a meal plan like this because when you have like a little bit higher carbs and fat, it makes getting the protein a little bit easier and it makes it a little more comfortable. And then when we get to later parts of like trying to lose the fat and keep our deficit and maintain, we'll start dropping things down like your carbs, your fats, and we raise the protein up, but it makes it easier and a little more seamless of a transition for most people like this. All right, so this over here with these numbers, I have 140 grams of protein, 200 grams of carbs, and 71 grams of fat. This is going to get me to 2,000 calories a day. Now, honestly, when we build like a whole food, high nutrient dense, high value meal plan, this is gonna feel like a lot of food. Like, I'm not even gonna lie. You're probably not gonna get to this many calories, but honestly, I always tell my clients, get to the protein goal. If you get to the protein goal, everything else will fall into place. You don't have to eat all the carbs. You don't have to eat all the fat, all right? But just try your best. So now that we've set the macros, the next thing we're gonna be doing is now we're gonna go ahead and make our food list. Now, I set these macros ahead of time. Just to kind of get that out the way because it's the part that I like that part the least. But we want to go get into our meals. Now, how we're going to get into the meals, we're actually going to utilize my meal plan mastery guide. All right, so when creating your meal plan, you're going to need to know what kind of food you like. And I'm going to literally take you straight through this just to show you how effective this meal plan guide is for you. So you're going to want to write out a list of your favorite fruits, vegetables, proteins, starchy carbs, healthy fats. And you can Google ideas if you get stuck. And by the way, when I made this guide, AI wasn't a thing. So this is all like something I put together, just like it's a little pride, pat on my back for myself. But after we finish step one, we have our favorite list of foods. We're then going to create our meals and we're going to organize those meals into breakfast, lunch, dinner, and snacks. Now, if everything I went over with the macro counting and stuff like that was confusing for you, you can start right here too. This is easier for beginners before we get to calculating macros, because in step 3, that's when we figure out the calories overall and we assign the calories to each meal and how we're going to divvy those up to make sure we meet our macro and our calorie goals. So as you can see in here, I have a sample food list. So I separate mine with vegetable, fruit, protein, starches, and snacks. And all I'm going to do is use these ingredients to make up foods that I like. And here we go with creating your meals. Now, one little hack that I like to do with creating meals is I literally like to start with like my favorite meals. Like, I love tacos. I like pizza. I like lasagna. I like Mississippi pot roast. I like burritos. I like those little power bowls. Like, these are all things that I like. And I'll start there and I would just write down, okay, what are the ingredients of it? And once I get the ingredients of it, then I make the meals out of it. And guess what? Boom, right here, as you can see, this is where I create the meals right here. So I have my breakfast. I love my scrambled eggs with a little spinach, on some toast sometimes with my breakfast. My lunch, I keep it kind of simple. I can do a salad most of the time. Sometimes I mix it up, maybe like a wrap or a power bowl, something like that. I get me a little protein shake to the side here. And dinner's where we like really switch it up. It could be like an herb grilled kind of steak, salmon fillet. It gets kind of funky with dinner for me. That's one of my favorite meals to switch up. But everybody's different. So if you're like a picky eater, this is really helpful too, because instead of starting with like, oh, I want to lose weight, I can eat a salad. No, just what foods do you like to eat? Okay, let's look at the recipe for it. Okay, now let's see, is there a healthier way to make this meal up? And you can even look this thing up maybe like on TikTok or something. There's so much more access you have. Like, there's no reason that you shouldn't be following your meal plan easily. All right, now we've made our food list and we have created our meals. Now what we want to do is turn those food into meals. And so all I'm going to do now, we're going to go ahead and go into the AI part. So I'll show you everything we just went through, right? That takes a lot to do on your own. And so now I want to show you how we do this stuff with AI. And you'll want to train ChatGPT up, and you can store certain memories and stuff in here. Now, if you're not on the Plus subscription, you might run out of space. So a good idea, you might run out of computing power. So a good idea for you to do would actually be to tell it to give you the items and stuff in a certain amount of words so it doesn't spit out as much information. Little tidbit for you. So I'm going to say this to chat. Hey, chat, you are now my nutrition coach. And by the way, I'm making a YouTube video from this. So be on good behavior. Haha. All right, and chat's gonna respond back. It's gonna store the memory. Okay, got it. Nutrition coach mode on. Since we're on camera, I'll keep it sharp, clear, and real, so how your audience likes it. Let's lock in. Let's talk about what's the topic of the video. All right, so now y'all don't have to type this up in. I'm just talking to chat, our AI overlords. So I'm teaching my community how to meal plan with your help. Ready to go, question mark. All right, let's run it. We're live in 3, 2, 1. Okay, we're discussing blah, blah, blah. Okay, chat's doing something else. Okay, it already knows like certain stuff for me, but we're gonna walk through all the steps that I showed you. So we have our baseline, right? And I'm not gonna give the numbers to chat, honestly, because it's gonna get too funky. This video is gonna be way too long trying to explain all that. But we're gonna go straight to the food portion that we started with up here in the Meal Plan Mastery Guide, all right? So let's actually just highlight, actually, no, we'll start from scratch right here. So I like, so here are the foods that I like. Wings and fries, burgers. What else did I say, y'all? Tacos, burritos, power bowls, delicious salads with variety in them. Let me see, salmon dinners. I like steak dinners. What else I like? Pot roasts. I like pasta dinners. Breakfast. This is me personally. I can eat the same thing. I can eat the same thing. Scrambled eggs, whites, turkey bacon, and toast or oatmeal. All right, so I've told everything that chat that I liked. And so now I'm gonna say, so chat, first I want you to create meal items out of these without making recipes. Okay, it's very important because again, computing power, y'all. Without making recipes or lists of food. Go. So I told everything I like, and now it's gonna make some meals out of here, right? And boom, just like that. Wing and fry night, air fry edition, crispy wings, yada yada. And so just giving some ideas, and what this is going to help you do is just generate, oh dang, I didn't think about that, right? But now that it has these meals, all I'm going to do while it's loading, I'm just going to go ahead and type this stuff in. Okay, looks good, exclamation point. So now we want to do is make those meals organized for the day. Let's organize these into a meal plan. I want 2 options for each section: breakfast, lunch, snack, and dinner. Oh, and I forgot to add a protein shake. Oh, by the way, I usually do fruit and a protein shake for a snack. All right, so chat's gonna organize this into a meal plan for me, right? But it's gonna be rough. It shouldn't spit out any calories. It might, let's see. Okay, it didn't. So it's gonna be rough, but remember, just like we have up here, we have our food list, the favorite meals. We created those meals, but chat is making those meals for me just like that. Don't even gotta think about it. And now the next step we wanna do is to actually take this and tell chat our calories and our numbers. So if you look up here, oops. So if you look up here, again, we have our total calorie amount, which is 2,000 that we're allotting ourselves for our meal plan. And we also have our macros. So I'm just gonna copy paste this over, all right? Okay, looks great. Now let's add the calories and macros. Here is the total intake I want to have each and every day. So I fitted my macros right there. Divide the calories up mostly evenly between each meal into a meal plan. Boom. There we go. So we fed it the macros, we gave it the numbers, the calories, and now look, here's your 2,000 calories diet for each day, breaking down to 4 meals, mostly evenly. So the snack is a little less. So now look at this. This is showing me that, hey, my breakfast needs to be about 35 grams of protein, 50 grams of carbs, 15 grams of fat. Me personally, y'all, I actually like to do lower carbs in my breakfast. I want to make this video as less complex as possible. So if you want to tell chat those things, you can. But I like to have like around 20, 30 grams of carbs or so, a lot of fiber, so I can have more carbs at dinner time. That's something I like. And same thing with my snacks. I like to have a little bit less of my snacks so I can have, again, more carbs at dinner time. That's just something I like. So now let's look at this, because now I've counted a lot of calories, y'all, like a lot. And I actually forgot to tell chat uncured turkey bacon, so that's a little bit issue on my part. But you see how it says, okay, this is a 35 gram protein plate. So 3 egg whites is about 3.6 grams of fat per egg white. You can look this up on MyFitnessPal if you want to, but it's about 3.6 grams per egg white. So if I take that 3.6 and that's 3 egg whites times that by 3, that's 10.8. Each whole egg has about 5 grams protein in it. So that's plus 10 right here. And then the 2 slices of turkey bacon, that's going to be, let me see, another plus 10 if it's uncured. And then the whole wheat toast, that's going to be anywhere from like 2 to 3 grams or so. So it's about 32.8. So chat can be off, but these little itty bitty numbers, they do add up, especially now protein and carbs is going to be like, you know, it's going to be here or there, but it's really the fats where things kind of get wacky is the fat intake. If your fat intake is off, remember those are 9 calories per gram. So you really want to make sure you're accurate with these things. And you also go back and just double check the numbers, because this little 2 grams could make me, you know, I'm going through my fat loss journey. And now I'm like, well, why am I not losing why am I not losing the weight? And then boom, this is why, because your numbers are off. You don't actually know the numbers in here. And if you want to ever double check your numbers, go into MyFitnessPal. So just to show y'all I ain't crazy, some of these things, like if I type in egg whites right here, right? Egg white's about 17 calories, right? And if I look at the nutrition info on here, that's going to be about, where is it at? It says 4 grams per, okay, so this one rounded up. But it says 4 grams protein, but your typical egg white's going to give you about 3.6, right? It's very important to get meticulous with your numbers, because you want to be on point with your numbers, y'all. And the easiest way to make sure you get enough protein in is, like, even though this says, oh, 3 egg whites, just pour like a little bit more of egg whites in there, right? If you want to go 3 slices turkey bacon instead of 2, go 3 slices instead of 2, right? Do what you got to do to get that protein intake in. So now that we have the calories assigned for our meal plan, the next thing we want to do is build a grocery list out of this. Now, let me take a step back. If you don't know how to cook, we can also have chat make recipes out of this. So let's do this. Hey, let's make a recipe out of this for each meal. And it's going to spit that out. So if you don't know how to cook, you need like help with that stuff, like this can also give you like a little recipe on, you know, how to make everything. But now the next step we want to do is to make a grocery list from everything. So what I like to do is just simply type in, take all the menu items and make a grocery list for me. Now, what you also want to do with the grocery list, remember, when you're prompting ChatGPT, you want to be very specific with everything. So right here, I wanted to make me this grocery list, but what I'm going to go ahead and do is tell it to organize it as carbs, proteins, fats, what was it? Snack foods and miscellaneous items. That way I can literally take this, copy, paste it into my notes on my phone, and boom. And I know, hey, this is my carb list, this is my proteins, my vegetables, whatever. And you see it spits out this entire grocery list. And now here's my most favorite part about this is taking this and finding the most efficient way to meal prep this. Because sometimes you're meal prepping and it's like cool, you do your first or second time, but it's like it always takes 5-6 hours. And so now what you want to do is say, give me the most efficient way to meal prep all these meals. And now chat's going to tell you, hey, step 1, you need to prep this first, cook the rice before you cook the meat, so on and so forth. And it gives you, hey, this should take you about 1.5 to 2 hours, including cleanup, right? And so boom, this is how you set everything up. And the more and more you start to actually do the meal prep part of this, you're gonna get to the point where this is just like, meal prep is nothing for you, right? It's just a matter of like an hour and a half, heck, maybe even an hour if you're doing like super late meal prep like I like to do. And now I also wanna go ahead and take this and turn it into a nice meal plan for you. I think chat does PDFs, I'm not too sure off the top of my head, but I'm gonna show you how to give this information to chat. We're going to compile this into a meal plan PDF that's nice and stacked and organized for us. And then we're going to go ahead and talk about how to lose that 1 to 2 pounds of fat per week with your meal plan. So I'm going to say, chat, make this into a meal plan PDF for me. The structure from top to bottom, each day meal, should be as such. Now, one thing I like to do too, you can also type out your little prompts to ChatGPT, like in a notepad, then copy paste it over. That's just so you don't accidentally hit enter, but it'll recognize it either way. So I'm gonna tell it day 1, 2, 3, etc. And then the meal, the recipe, and the calories, macros at the bottom. Boom. and it's going to go ahead and take everything out, and it's going to spit out a nice meal plan for me. And there might be some structural things off with the headings and where you place things. So if you have another way you want to place it, then you definitely can. All right, and boom, we now have a downloaded PDF meal plan all spit out from chat. The macros, everything are here. Now it gave me a very, very short recipe as far as like how to cook it. Now it's not like what would you call it? It's not like a hard recipe to make, but you can tell chat to give you some more detailed recipe if you really need like a really step by step. Okay. But as you can see, I have my breakfast power plate. I got my ingredients needed. I have the recipe right here: scrambled eggs, cookie turkey bacon, toasted bread, serve it with a banana. At the end, I have my calories and I got my macros. And y'all, that is how you make your meal plan with AI. Now let's show you how we calculate losing 1 to 2 pounds of body fat per week with this. So you're gonna need to know a couple of numbers here. And I'm gonna go into my meal plan mastery guide to teach y'all some of this stuff. So the most important thing when it comes to losing fat, y'all, is understanding your TDEE. This is your total daily energy expenditure. This is all the calories that you burn from just me making this video, going to the gym, working out, walking around outside, doing my cardio on the treadmill or stairmaster, something like that. And just living and breathing, that's your basal metabolic rate, your BMR or your RMR. You might hear that as well too, your resting metabolic rate. All this together is your TDEE. So that's how many calories you burn all day long for the whole day. So by knowing those numbers, remember at the beginning of the video, we talked about 200-pound woman, 35, 40-ish years old, 5'4". She works out 3 times a week in the gym, weightlifting. She does about 20 minutes on the treadmill incline and about 7,000 steps per day average. Now, we roughly calculate her BMR to be about 1,600. And if you want to know how to calculate your BMR, you can just go to Google, type in BMR calc and MyFitnessPal. And then, so if I go in here and I type in the 200-pound, I type in 5'4", 35, I put female, calculate. 1,590 is about what it is. I did round this up before the video to 1,600 to make it like a little easier and more even. But we have our 1,600 calories right here for our BMR. I'm not gonna walk through all the numbers for this, and y'all can fact check this stuff with like ChatGPT, Google, whatever. Now with about 45 minutes of lifting, you're gonna burn about 300 to 400 calories per session. More than likely a lot more than that if you're doing like a lower body and or a full body kind of workout day or a HIIT session with weights involved. You're gonna burn more, but I always like to kind of undershoot how many calories I think that I'm burning, because it's very easy to over assume how many calories you're burning and underestimate how many calories you're actually eating. Most people actually underestimate their calories by over 1,000 as far as what they thought they ate. So our BMR 1,600 and our exercise calories about 300-400. The cardio that we do on the treadmill is about 150 to 200 calories, depending on our pace and incline, so on and so forth. And our NEAT calories is the next thing. That's our non-exercise activity thermogenesis calories. So your non-exercise activity thermogenesis calories, this is like you walking outside, doing chores, running errands, hanging out with friends. You're still burning calories because you're walking around, you're moving your arms, maybe dancing to the beat, but it's not exercise calories technically, but it still counts for something. And that gives us our TDEE here. And I have to put a range here as well too, because every day is not gonna be perfect max output calories. And that range, with that, when I do a range, I kind of go with the bottom one myself, but we'll go with the top one. That just makes all the numbers over here simple for this video. And so this puts her in a range. She's burning about 2,300 to 2,500 calories. Now, there are 3,500 calories in 1 pound, y'all. So with that information, if I want to lose 1 pound per week, I just need to simply drop about 3,500 calories of a deficit per week, which is about 500 calories per day of a deficit. So what that means is if I take my calories here, my output, right? Let's say 2,500 upper limit. So at 25 times 7. So that means 17,500 calories is about where I'm at. Let me make that more even for y'all. All right. And now 500 calories a day is 3,500 for the week. So this is 17, I multiply this by 7 because there's 7 days in a week. So 17,500. If I want to burn 500 calories a day, that's going to be a total of 3,500. So if I subtract 3,500 from here, I have a calorie intake of 14,000. So if I divide this by 7, this is where I get my 2,000 calorie intake to theoretically, and emphasis on theoretical, because calories in versus calories out is a thing. Calorie deficit is a thing, but there's also other factors that can go into here, but we're not going to go into that on this video. It does get a little tricky. But this is going to give me the number 2,000 for roughly where I want to start with my, my calorie intake. Now, this is where it gets a little funky, so I want you to pay attention here. Let's say I want to lose 2 pounds of fat per week. Is it possible? Yes. But what are the things you have to do and consider to even get to that point in the first place? So let's say I keep all these things as far as workouts and movement the same, but I want to drop 2 pounds per week instead. Well, what's that going to look like food wise? So again, let's take, we're burning 2,500 calories per day, and that's 17,500 calorie intake. And there's 3,500 calories in 1 pound. If I multiply by 2, that means 7,000 calories will have to be my deficit for the week. So by taking 7,000 away, I have 10,500 calories I get to eat for the entire week, y'all. Pay attention, that's the entire week. And so if I divide that by 7, this means I only get to eat 1,500 calories per day. Is it possible? Yeah. Is that something I want to do? Honestly, me personally, as active as I am, no, not really. There are some days you can do that. Some days you don't have to do that. But hey, it's up to you to really feel your body out and where you want to go with your goals. Honestly, there's times where you can get aggressive with your fat loss, but you also don't want to sacrifice losing a lot of muscle in your body as well too. So you really got to pay attention and really understand your body to do that. Can it be done? Yes. Does it have to be 2 pounds per week? No. If you are closer to your body fat goals of loss and tone out in your body, I would actually recommend you slow down how fast you're losing body fat, because we don't want to be small and flabby, right? There's too many people that lose all the weight and then want to build the muscle. That's not what we want to do. But you do you. Hopefully this helps you out. And again, so this is just meal plan with AI and how you actually be doing it in 2025. And lucky for y'all, ChatGPT did get a little better on some of those calculations and macros, so you can kind of trust it, but still, I want to make sure you can know these numbers as well too. And if you like this kind of content, let me know by subscribing, hitting the bell icon to be notified, and like the video as well too. And drop a comment if this is helpful or another nutrition topic that you might want to learn about. And if you're interested in coaching, hit the link in my bio below. Check out more of my client testimonials and program, and you can book a call with me and we can get started. But other than that, peace out. Hope you have a good one. We'll talk soon.